Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala khatimun nabiyyin wa tabibi nafusina wa shafi'i zanubina bil qasim Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
والصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين وأذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآله
ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. أما بعد فقد قال الله في قرآنه الحكيم وفرقانه المجيد وهو قول الحق. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيتها النفس المطمئنة ارجعي إلى ربك راضية مرضية فادخلي في عبادي وادخلي جنتي. صلوات.
اللهم صل على Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
I have the honor and privilege to recite the verses from 27 to the 30th of Surah Fajr, which is the 89th chapter of Quran al-Hakim. This Surah Fajr is also known as Surah al-Hussein, and these specific verses are directly mentioning and addressing Imam al-Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam. Please recite aloud salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
The translation of these verses are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directly addressing Imam Hussein in this. O satisfied soul, return to your Lord, well pleased and well pleasing. Then enter among my worshippers and enter my paradise. Salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
1 minute before I begin, I must thank the host Imam Bargaz. There are two centers who are jointly collaborating these majalises. Markazi Imam Barga Al Murtaza in Houston, Texas, USA, and Zenabia Imam Barga in San Antonio, Texas, USA. They both have collaborated together to have this joint venture to arrange the discussion of this great tragedy. Please recite a loud salawat for the success and prosperity of both of these centers and the lovers of Ahlul Bayt around the world. Momini, due to the situation around the world with the COVID-19, unfortunately or fortunately, we are using a technology now, which may become a norm for the next years to come. With the help of the technology, alhamdulillah, there are a lot of viewers, a lot of azadar who can join these majalises. This specific majlis, this specific program is live broadcast to quite a few countries. It is broadcasting in Australia, Canada, and within USA, of course, and Pakistan as well. So inshallah, we pray for all the mu'mineen around the world for their safety. Having said that, mu'mineen, as you all know, that yesterday, as Brother Shahid mentioned, that the year of 1441, the last sunset of the Islamic Hijri year 1441 has ended yesterday. The sun was set with the defeat of the Yazid. The sun of the last year yesterday was set with the defeat of all the evil forces. The sun was set with the defeat of all the satanic forces. The sun was set with all sort of negativity, with all sort of sins, inshallah, with all sort of bad intentions, shortcomings, depressions, and all sort of negativity, inshallah. Today, just like a regular calendar of 2020, we have the Islamic Hijri calendar. And the new year is 1442. With the new sun rose today, with the victory of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. With the victory of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, it is the victory of all the prophets. It is the victory of 124,000 prophets. It is the victory of Ulul Azam Anbiya. In English, we call them the arch prophets. It is the victory of all these prophets. And I'm not just saying it from my own self. I'm actually referring to the very authentic Ziyarat-e-Warisa. In Ziyarat-e-Warisa, we all are aware of these arch prophets being mentioned in it. And it is not just the name mentioned in Ziyarat-e-Warisa. In Ziyarat-e-Warisa, we are taught that Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the inheritor, is the successor of all of these arch prophets. If you have the respect of the elevated status of these arch prophets, you can imagine the status of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who is the inheritor of all these arch prophets. Just imagine that Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the successor of Prophet Adam, the first ever prophet on this planet Earth. And Imam Hussein is the inheritor. Imam Hussein is the successor. Just imagine Prophet Nuh, who is one of the arch prophet of Islam, and Imam Hussein is his successor. Imam Hussein is his inheritor. And now come to Prophet Abraham. Now come to Prophet Jesus, the Moses. There are huge and huge religion. A big number of people who are following Prophet Jesus, Prophet Moses, and our Imam Hussein is the inheritor of all those prophets. Please recite a loud salawat of our Imam Hussein. Now, when I say that Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the inheritor of those prophets, I must say that we have a concept of inheriting something. We usually have a concept of inheriting properties. We usually have a concept of inheriting wealth, bank balance, or maybe, in medical terms, maybe inheriting some sort of diseases, God forbid, may Allah protect all the mu'mineen around the world. But when we say that Imam Hussein is the inheritor of these prophets, mind you, not just any prophet, but including the arch prophets as well. Just imagine what kind of inheritance he would have. The whole Islam was introduced to us through 124,000 prophets. And this single personality of Imam Hussein is inheriting 124,000 prophets' work and efforts. This is the status of my Imam Hussein. It is not just one personality. He is not just one personality, no. He is inheriting 124,000 prophets. Now, you do have the respect of the elevated status of the arch prophets. Just imagine that these 100 last holy prophet as well, for whom this universe was created, who is the Habib of Allah, and Imam Hussein alayhi salam is the inheritor of this last holy prophet as well. So, in other words, let me say this, that Islam has benefited from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala definitely has taken these benefits in the favor of Islam through the personality of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And the angels in heaven, they have also benefited from Imam Hussein alayhi salam. You see, these are the concepts that I wanted to clear, inshallah, in the next coming lectures. We have 9 or 10 lectures, inshallah, till the Ashura day. And my effort will be to discuss the Marifa of Islam. In English, we use the word Gnosis, Gnosis. Gnosis, it means Marifa. or in simple English, we can call it an understanding of Islam. We need to understand what is Islam and why there are different kinds of Muslims, why there are different kinds of ideologies exist among us, and which ideology is the one that is the true ideology and that we must follow. And we will take, inshallah, help from the historical events. We will take help from the ideologies, Islamic ideology. And most importantly, we will take help from our akal, from our wisdom and intellect, and find out that which exactly is the right religion. Please recite aloud salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Just to give you a quick example, that I just talked about the inheritance, that Imam Hussein inherited the whole religion. What I meant by that, there are 124,000 prophets who came here with the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Divine message, divine personalities, flawless personalities, absolutely, infallibles. They came here, they of course tried, they were infallibles, flawless personalities. When they tried to implement the laws of Islam according to the Sharia of that time, they tried it, some of the people followed it. But when Imam Hussein came, and when we say that he inherited the whole religion of these prophets, he is the only personality in the history of Islam, in the history of the universe, ever, who not only implemented the laws of Islam physically, but he implemented the laws of Islam emotionally into our hearts. And this is the inheritance, and this is the success of Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, that he is able to penetrate into our hearts, and we sincerely take him, we sincerely take his orders and his personality into our hearts and accept him. And this love, it cannot be bought. This love cannot be forced to do. This is what the success of my Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, that he is now able to rule on our hearts now. Please recite aloud salam.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
You know, this success, or the event that really became the base of this success, was a Karbala event. And I'm not going into the Masail now, but going back to the basis of my topic, that this success of having the love in our heart without any force, without any sort of, I would say, like the worldly affairs and force, I would say. The time has lapsed so long. I mean, it's been almost 1400 years ever since the event of Karbala took place. 1381 years to be exact. If it is 1442, just minus 61 Hijri when the event took place. 1381 years, or just make it a round figure, 1400 years ago this event took place. And even the 1400 years have passed. A lot of conspiracies came and attacked us. A lot of physical forces came in and they tried to stop us from loving Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam, and yet they all are failed. This is the success of my Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. And this is the concept behind inheriting of all 124,000 prophets. This is the concept. Like with all sort of operations, with all sort of cruelty, with all sort of forces, and yet Imam Hussein, even after 1400 years, is still a successful personality in our heart. And we are not willing to give him away. This is the success. This is what the inheritance I'm talking about. And this is the inheritance that what I have understood from Islam. Now, this is the part that Imam Hussein has done. What is our love? How can we define this word love? this feeling love for Imam Hussein? Is it the love of a video game? Is it a love of our cell phones? Is it a love of watching cartoons on the TV? Is it a love of watching movies or being with friends or earning a lot of money when you grow up and you make a lot of money or you become a doctor or engineer or businessman or whosoever? Is it that kind of a love? Is it how you will define love? Or let me explain you much better, maybe you will understand it better. That all of you love your parents, your mother, your father, when you get sick, your parents take you to the hospitals and take care of you, they feed you. Is it that kind of a love? What is that love? It is absolutely not that kind of a love. Absolutely not. You know, Imam Hussein took the martyrdom for the love of Islam, for the love of Allah. When any common individual, Mu'min or Muslim dies in the cause of Allah, we call him Shaheed. And as Imam Ali والسلام, said, that if the end of the life is death, then the best of the death is the Shahada, is the martyrdom. And when a common individual person dies, we have such a great status in our mind for that individual person who dies. He's a common man. He just dies, and now he's become a shaheed. And when that individual person, a common person, becomes shaheed, he elevates his own status. Just imagine the master of the shaheed, the master of the martyrs. What kind of a status would that personality would have? Now, go back to the love. How do we have love for him? You know, when somebody dies in the cause of Islam, in the cause of Allah, he is usually killed because he was doing something in favor of Islam. He was doing something in favor of Allah. He was doing something to make sure that Islam is successful. And now he is stopped because he's killed. So our responsibility and job is to take care of the tasks that were left incomplete when he died, when he was killed, when he became a shaheed, when he was martyred. There were some tasks that were left incomplete. So our job, our love, would be to make sure that we try to complete those tasks as much as possible. This is the clear loyalty to that individual personality who died, who killed in the cause of Islam. So when we take the personality of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, who has inherited 124,000 prophets, if he is killed in the cause of Islam, there must have been a task that he has left for us. Our job is to find out what that task is. Our job is to find out what we can do to take care of those tasks that were left by Imam Hussein alayhi salam for us. So we begin this year with the prayer to continue the mission of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And we begin with the intention that we will, inshallah, learn this religion, Islam, as much as we can. We may be at a very young age now, we may be like 5 or 6 years old. And we may not understand a lot of things, but inshallah, when we grow up to be the grown-ups, like our parents, inshallah, we will be able to understand a lot more. And we will be able to realize that these majalises are the ones that are really helpful in learning Islam, in understanding the Islam, in understanding the Gnosis of Islam and the Ma'rifah of Islam. Please recite a loud salawat. Now, speaking of these majalis, speaking of this Azadari, you all know that this is a very strange kind of phenomenon. Usually, we wait for the happy occasions. We wait for the anniversaries, we wait for the birthdays, and we really enjoy those days. And it is kind of unheard of to wait for the sad occasion. If you ask somebody that, hey, do you have any sad occasion in your mind that you want to wait for? And definitely the answer would be no, I don't have any sad occasion to think of to want to wait for it. But if there is a happy occasion, if you ask a question about a happy occasion, you will get an answer right away that yes, I have something to look for. I have a birthday coming up. You know, I have a friend of mine, he has a child just born like about a year ago or so. And they love that child so much. The child was born, I think, on the 24th of the month. And they love that child so much that instead of waiting for the year to celebrate the birthday, they celebrate that child's birthday every month on the 24th of the month. So they cannot even wait for the year to celebrate the happy occasion of that child's birth. So yet alone, wait for the sad occasion and the tragic occasion like the Karbala. So it is the miracle of this tragedy. It is the miracle of this tragedy that not only that we wait for this tragedy every year, our wait has grown, the intensity of the wait has grown. The intensity has never gone down. And we always have waited. And mind you, like I said, like it's been like 1400 years already. And we are still waiting for this tragedy, this grief occasion to come so that we can commemorate the sad martyrdom of Imam Hussain. This itself is the sign of a miracle. Please recite aloud salawat. Anyway, so I was saying that we were having the weight of the grief as a part and parcel of our lives. We were having this weight as a gift of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is a kind of a tragic occasion that repeats every year. I mean, there's nothing new in it. It's been the same for the past 1400 years. There's nothing new in it. And yet we still wait for it. And every year when this occasion comes, we feel like as if it has just happened, like maybe an hour ago or a day ago, or maybe it's happening right now in front of our eyes. So this is the sign of a miracle of this tragedy. And it can only happen for our Imam Hussain alayhi salatu wassalam. And like you, Momini, this miracle can never have happened if it was not for you, if it were not for you. You are a part of this miracle. Because of you, this miracle is continuing on. And you are, of course, a part of this miracle. So just feel good about yourself that you are a part of this religion, you are a part of this deen, you are a part of this grief, and you are a part of this occasion. Please add a loud salawat for the well-being of yourself. Mu'mineen, we all are, alhamdulillah, alive to commemorate this Shahada. When we say alive, there are certain signs of being alive. Like we can see, we can hear, we can talk, we can walk, we can lift things with our hands. These are the signs of the life. But according to the Imam, according to the Masoom, the signs of a life is not just looking or talking or walking or thinking, but the signs of the life are if you have the true Iman, the true belief on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on Prophet and his family and the Islam in general as a whole. That is the sign of the life. And when we say that these are the signs of the life, We have to find out like how we can practically show that we do have these signs of the life. We have a lot of situations and a lot of options to show that these are the signs of the life. For example, arranging these majalis is one of the signs. Coming and attending these majalis is also one of the signs. Listening to this majalis at home is also one of the signs. Learning from this majalis is also one of the signs. Acting upon this learning, whatever you have learned from these majalis is also one of the signs. And these are the actual signs of life. And when I say that these are the signs, you can practically, inshallah, we will have a better situation with the COVID, inshallah, in the next month or so, or coming months, inshallah. We will pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to get rid of this pandemic completely, inshallah, so that we can have a normal, regular, natural life that we used to have before COVID. So we will have matam as well here in our Imam Bargas. And these are the signs of our religion, Islam. Breathing, seeing, and listening is not just life. Now, when I say that these are the signs of the life, that means that it must be a part of our personality. It must be the part and parcel of our being. We are luckily born in the age of Prophet Muhammad, in the era in the Islam of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we can say that, since I was born in a Muslim family, after the Prophet Muhammad came to the world, I had no choice. I just became Muslim because my parents are Muslim. Or I became Muslim just because this is what I heard around me. But if you go back to the ancient civilizations, you will find that those civilizations, when they were discovered, there has always been a place of worship in those civilizations. So that means, that shows that even long before the prophets ever came to this world, there was a civilization and there was a need of a religion. There was a need of doing some sort of a worshiping. And that need is the part and parcel of our being, that we do definitely need some sort of worshiping in our life. And this is the nature. This is our nature. And this is a sign of a life. Our job is to find out what exactly is the right way to worship and who is to worship. This is what our job is. And of course, these majalises are very much helpful for that. And we will learn and we will make sure that we will find the right answers to the questions that we have. Please recite aloud salawat again. Mu'mineen karam, as I said, that inshallah in the next coming lectures, I will be talking about the understanding of Islam, the gnosis of Islam, or his marifat of Islam, with the help of akal, with the help of wisdom, the intellect, with the help of Islamic beliefs, as well as with the help of the historical events. Today, like I said, is the first of the Muharram, and today, I want to talk about the departure of our Imam Hussein from the Medina to the place where this tragic event took place in Karbala. And while talking about this, I'm not getting into the Masaib now, but while talking about this, I want to present to you two policy statements from two parties, from two sides. So anyway, continue on. Imam Hussein would leave. Hussein, he used to live in Medina before this Karbala event, before all this tragic event. Imam Hussein was not living in Karbala. He was living in Medina. And the situation in Medina became so tensed, became so unacceptable, that Imam Hussein was thinking of probably moving out of Medina to go elsewhere. Imam Hussein was a peaceful person. He was following the peaceful ideology of Islam. He did not want to get into any sort of fight with anyone, including the rulers, the government, the governors, or whosoever. He was a peaceful person. Anyway, he was peacefully living in Medina when Yazid came into power. When Yazid came into power, that is another whole set of detail that how he came into the power. But anyway, when he came into the power, the first threat he saw to his power was the personality of Imam Hussein. He took Imam Hussein's personality as a threat to his government, like all the oppressors they do. So when he came into power, he saw that Imam Hussein is a major threat. What he did, he planned something to handle this threat. And it is a well-known event, and I just want to talk about this well-known event so that I can give you the policy statements of both the sides so you can understand better that how the evil forces work and how the godly forces work, how the Ilahi forces work. Anyway, one day, Imam Hussein was sitting with one of his companion, Abdullah ibn Zubair, who was the son of Zubair. Mind you, Zubair was the son of one of the very famous companion of Prophet. His name was Zubair. He was one of the Ashra Mubashara, if I'm not mistaken. According to some of the Muslim brothers believe that those Ashra Mubashara are the ones who had the good news of going to heaven soon after they would die. Anyway, so the son of Zubair, Abdullah ibn Zubair, was also one of the famous personality of that time. He was sitting with Imam Hussein when the messenger of Yazid came to Imam Hussein and asked Imam Hussein to appear in front of the governor. That was a very disrespectful way of coming to Imam Hussein and asking him to appear in front of the governor. Anyway, he came to Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein told the messenger to go and leave, and Imam Hussein told him that go back to the governor and tell him that yes, I would come and I would meet the governor. Messenger left. Abdullah ibn Zubair asked Imam Hussein, what is happening? Why all of a sudden we are called upon to appear in front of a governor? Imam Hussein, of course, he knew, and he told Abdullah ibn Zubair that Yazid has come into the power. And Yazid wants me to either give him my oath of allegiance to him, Na'uzubillah, or kill me. This is what he is planning. Abdullah ibn Zubair became kind of worried. He asked Imam Hussein that I think that we should not go to the governor. Imam Hussein said no. If I said yes, I will go, I will go. Anyway, the next day came, Imam Hussein went to the governor's place, and the governor asked him about the oath of allegiance for Yazid. Imam said that it is not a good idea for you to take my oath of allegiance like this in the privacy of a small confined room. Let's invite and ask me for the oath of allegiance. And that is where, and that is when I'm going to tell you what I will do. Whether I will do the oath of allegiance, or whatever my action or plan of actions will be, I will tell you right there and then. It might over people. Why in a small, confined, closed room, nobody would know whether I did it or not. So it might over public. The governor thought about it and he was like, well, it seems like a good idea. If we invite people over, I will be shown my power, my strength over those people, over those public, that I am the one who is taking control of Na'uzubillah, of such a great personality of Imam Hussein. So I will increase my status in front of those eyes. Anyway, that governor agreed. When The sincere companions of Imam Hussein, when they heard about it, they became kind of worried, and they said, Imam, we don't see that he has good intentions for you. Imam replied that I know his intentions. Don't worry, I will go there with some of you. Take your weapons with you. If I feel like there is some sort of an issue there, I'm going to raise my voice. And when I raise my voice, you can come in, and then we will leave the palace of that governor. So this is the kind of a plan that they made. They went there. Anyway, when Imam Hussein went there, and with all of his sincere companions, the governor, of course, asked for the oath of allegiance. Imam, this is the point where Imam ﷺ gave this policy statement. I mean, the introduction I have made, the base I have made for the whole detailed incident is for this specific policy statement of my Imam Hussein ﷺ. And the policy statement is that when the governor asked him about the oath of allegiance, the policy statement of Imam Hussein is that someone like me does not pledge allegiance to the someone like Yazid. This is the policy statement that Imam Hussein gave. And this is what our ideology should be. And this is the policy statement that Imam Hussein has directed us for the rest of the life, for the rest of this world until the day of the judgment. That whenever the time comes and you are asked to obey any of the oppressors, just rise yourself up against that oppressor. Please recite aloud Salawat. So you see, it became very difficult for Imam to continue to live in Medina. And this is the basic rule of Islam, that it is obligatory upon all of us to protect ourselves, to save our lives from any sort of harm or danger. Anyway, Imam felt lonely, and as you know, that the general public who should be in compliance with Imam, who should be the followers of Imam, who should have surrendered themselves completely to Imam, were scared and afraid of the government. So Imam was completely alone now. Anyway, my Imam is on alone now. He's on lonely now. And when you're all alone and you don't have any parents or brother with you, who would you turn yourself to? Imam had no choice but to went to the grave of his brother Hassan. Imam went to the grave of his brother Hassan and said, Brother Hassan, the enemy is after my blood. It looks like my martyrdom is near. I am leaving you now. I imagine Imam Hassan would have replied from the grave, Oh, my brother Hussein, I bid you farewell and give you my son Qasim to become your sadqa in Karbala. Hussein spent some time there, and then he went to his grandfather's grave and said, Nana, my grandfather, Nana, I am Hussein. I am the son of your daughter Fatima. Nana, you ordered Muslims to obey me, but they have stopped listening to me. They are not obeying me anymore. I have come to you to complain. Then Hussein prayed, cried and cried, and while crying, his eyes closed. That's when Maula saw a dream, and you know who he saw in the dream? His Nana, his grandfather, the Rasulullah of Muslimin came into his dream and said, my son Hussein, be prepared for the severe thirst, be prepared for the loneliness on the desert of Karbala. Soon you will be killed by a group claimed to be Muslim. Hussein asked Nana, get me into your grave, Nana. I don't want to go back to this world. I can imagine Prophet might have asked Hussein, I would have taken you in my grave, Hussein. But have you fulfilled your promise? Hussein, have you had your head cut already? Have you cried? Have you cried on the martyrdom of Ali Akbar? I would have taken you in my grave, Hussein, but have you done your last sajda in Karbala? Has Zainab been left alone without you in Karbala? Has Zainab's chadar been taken away already, Hussein? Imam woke up, and finally, according to some traditions, he then went to his mother Fatima's grave. Some historians witnessed when Hussein went to his grandfather's grave, he walked with dignity and took slow steps. But when he went to his mother Fatima's grave, he ran towards the mother's grave like a little child. A little child who runs towards his mother. Hussein fell on her grave like a child falls on the lap of a mother. Hussein said, oh my mother, accept my last salam. I am leaving Medina and would not come back. The prophecy of my grandfather is about to come true. I imagine that Bibi Zahra would have said from the grave, oh my beloved son, my beloved Hussein, oh the one whom I have raised by keeping awake in nights, I would not let you go alone. From this day on, I would not rest in my grave, but I would accompany you. Hussein departed the grave and told the family about the dream and the condition of the city. The whole family got scared and cried, you know, Miss Salma, the grandmother of Hussein, the wife of the Prophet, heard that Hussein is leaving Medina. The old and weak lady came to Hussein and said, Hussein, your grandmother told me that you will be killed on the land of Iraq. Hussein said, my beloved grandmother, yes, that is true. If you want, I can even show you the place. It's Karbala. I will be killed there. Hussein moved his hand, and by the power of Imama, he showed her the place. Salma saw the land of Karbala. She saw bodies of the companions of Hussein, all drenched in blood. She saw family of Hussein, all killed and drenched in blood. She saw the ladies of the family of Prophet in captivity. She saw little Princess Sakina wandering on the battlefield of Karbala, looking for Baba Hussein. Salma is weak and could not bear the sight and cried for Hussein. Hussein's last journey began throughout the travel from Medina to Karbala. Various people heard that everyone goes to sleep at night. That's when they hear a feminine voice of weeping and a baby's voice crying, Ya Hussein, my Hussein. Someone asked Imam, who is this lady who cries at night? My Maula Agha Hussein said, This is my mother Zahra. This is Fatima Zahra, who is with me ever since I have left Medina. I want to ask Mawla, my Mawla, how will she bear the pain, the sight of your killing in Karbala? Now to me, say.